Thank you, Sir Roger. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and thank you to my honourable friend for such a wide-ranging and powerful opening speech, and also to my honourable friend and member for Folkestone and Hythe for just some incredible work you've done with the Joint Committee. I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to talk about online harms and online abuse now, because we had some really positive announcements from government, and thanks to the Minister's hard work, which I no doubt we'll hear a little bit more about in due course. But I mean, I've spoken before about the misery of the dark cyber streets and alleyways, and I know that our constituents around the country are looking to us to help clean up Digital Dodge City. But the government has responded by creating a wide-ranging online harms bill, and also going an extra step of having the pre-legislative scrutiny, which is incredibly thorough and has created the report which we are concentrating our minds on today. And while I know not all abuse is anonymous, I know that because I get quite a lot of it myself that's not anonymous, but the most frightening threats are often from faceless, nameless and cowardly perpetrators who prevent us from being able to access and understand the true risk of a post, because we don't know who is behind that. So I've really focused my time on campaigning to tackle anonymous abuse, and I put a 10-minute rule bill in to propose that we have measures for verification. What we said is we should give social media users the option to verify their own accounts. So why should only celebrities, etc., and MPs have blue ticks? That should be open to all and very clearly labelled, but also give people and social media users the option to only follow and be followed by verified accounts. I mean, just looking at the petitions that we are thinking about today, there's nearly 700,000 signatures looking at verification, and I thank everybody who has worked so hard to raise this issue. And having spoken to the new Secretary of State for Culture and her team on a number of occasions, she has genuinely really listened to the concerns of victims, and actually I can see the incredible changing of track from on the draft legislation that we have that sort of thinks a lot more clearly about how is what users, social media users, are experiencing on a daily basis, and how can we improve it. So I actually came to this issue originally because I received a lot of abuse when I announced a pregnancy, which is just bonkers in today and age. But after that, I had Stroud residents come to me to talk about their own experience of online abuse. And these are, everyday people. This is social workers, this is army veterans and schoolgirls. And I just want to say that the cyber flashing issues that so many young girls are facing is absolutely appalling, and often the majority of that is coming from anonymous accounts. But I've been, this job is very weird on a normal day, but I've actually been able to talk to some incredibly glamorous, popular and well-followed celebrities, and I thank people like Bobby Norris. I've spoken to Katie Price, Emily Atack, Marlin Anderson, and a range of other people who have really brought to the fore that we look at you all on social media as the most glamorous people that we envy, and we follow your worlds, but actually behind the scenes you're suffering so much, and there is so much coming to you that is abusive, that is scary, that is debilitating to people's lives, that is damaging mental health. So when you put together all the people that are suffering, it is absolutely right that the government has listened and made changes. And I think there was one where I gave a speech on this a few months ago, and I was trying to explain about parents who had received abuse following the death of their children and babies, and I just break. I mean, I really struggle. I will never understand why people wake up in the morning and think it is okay to start sending nasty, threatening, scary messages or harassing messages to people. It is completely mindless, and it needs to be shut down. So just very briefly, we know that anonymity And lack of verification means there's less self-policing. We know that users feel less accountable, responsible for their actions. We know that there's actual less policing because it's so difficult to actually trace people who are anonymous, and the preventative and protective measures can often be dodged. If you block an abusive user on a platform, bans them, they just start a new account, as we've heard from other members here today. Some challenges, I just think it's worth going over these again, that I rightly receive about my proposals to tackle anonymity and introduce verification. People will say anonymity is a source of protection for marginalised and endangered people. There is a force for good in this, and I completely agree that anonymity can both fuel abuse but also offer a means of protection that enables them to get at least online. This is why the nuanced approach of giving people choice and giving social media users more choice, as we're suggesting, is so important. The second one is this is no magic bullet. It's not going to stop all abuse online. I think we would be wrong to ever suggest that is the case. We know that will not happen. We haven't been able to eradicate bullying in the playground for all of the years that has been going on. However, our proposed measures being added to the Online Safety Bill, which I'm so grateful for, and creates a regulator as well, includes that all of the measures together in the Online Safety Bill is going to really help and significantly reduce abuse of all forms, actually, but particularly anonymous abuse, if you choose that option of opting out, of effectively seeing it. So I would... I just conclude. I mean, I could keep my comments relatively short today because I've talked so often on this matter, and I'm keen to hear from the Minister about a bit more detail and his opposite number about what is coming forward. But I think this is really positive so far in what we're seeing. This is going to be a very, very lively piece of legislation, not least because it's massive, and it's right that such a serious piece of legislation should receive so much scrutiny and challenge. But I think that if you have the victims of abuse at heart, and if you think about all of the range of different people that are experiencing abuse on a daily basis, and if you think about the campaigning that's happened, that's brought in the FA and kicking out racism groups and anti-Semitism groups, I think it's pretty obvious that this is the right course of action, and we will be on the right side of history for pushing this through. And I thank the Minister and his team for everything that he's doing on this. Thank you.